So what do we want to do?
What do we want to do?
The video.
Probably a good start.
You sound like shit, Sean.
I feel like shit.
You look like shit too.
Okay, I'm gonna leave.
It's the E3 sickness.
Sick of disappointing.
So by the time the Nintendo press conference comes along, you're gonna be dead. So rest in peace, Sean. Rest in peace.
Please kill me.
All right. Well.
Hello.
Hello. So since yesterday, we're all dying. So that's great. Smashing, Matty.
We got the swine flu.
Sweeney flu. The Sweeney flu. All right. Anyway, what's up, guys? As always, this is Beazley. That's Matty. I've got a cup in my hand. That's Matty. That's Sean. He's like death warmed up. And yeah, so this is day 2 of our E3 2018 coverage for the Entertaining Diversion channel.
Yes, it is. Yep.
I don't know. So yeah, we'll be covering Square Enix, Ubisoft, and of course Sony.
And Limited Run. Yep.
All right, we're adding Limited Run into the fold here.
There's not much to talk about. But
no, I've seen what they've put up for Switch. And I'm excited. So yeah. Anyway, so we might as well do what we did yesterday and start with what was first, which was Square Enix.
Yeah.
You brought that up on your.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're the only one who actually.
Yeah. There's not going to be much to talk about. I was really disappointed in Square Enix's presentation. Actually,
I was asleep.
I regret waking up, and that's honest to God truth.
I regret waking up every day, so
Wow, this coverage is getting dark.
Anyway, continue, sorry.
So jog my memory, because I don't remember what...
Showed the Tomb Raider gameplay?
Yeah, Tomb Raider gameplay looked amazing. It was a little bit more expansive than what we've seen in Microsoft's conference, was it? Must have been. Of course it was. It's very much the same, but I do like the character development with Lara now that I've seen more of that. And the crowd seemed in, the social media side of things seemed into it as well from that perspective. Like the overall Square Enix's conference was shit, putting it bluntly.
Square Enix's is never really overly exciting. They just show like a bunch.
Yeah, but this was just.
What I've seen, people didn't mind it because of how short it was.
I think what disappointed people more than anything was not how short it was, but it just ended, and there was no sort of like, it didn't feel like a full conference, is what most people were saying.
Definitely wasn't. It felt like a Nintendo mini direct.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it went for less than 30 minutes.
Yeah.
That's why I said it wasn't worth me getting up, but I did. I think it's gonna be an amazing game. Like the last 2 have been really, really good. So nothing other than, like I said, the character development stuff has been covered quite well, and Lara's good. Jonah was there again for you, Sean. Your man Jonah.
The real
although actually they did show an intro bit in which Jonah gets pushed out of a plane.
He always gets fucked
so
up.
I don't.
He always comes back.
I assume he's more in the game than what that. Yeah. So no, it not much more than what Sony showed off, but it was more character development stuff and showing Lara's very much become Tomb Raider.
Yes.
So. Yeah.
As the name suggests.
Then there was Final Fantasy Cross Monster Hunter collaboration.
Yeah, hearing about that was pretty cool. Like,
it was an expansion on one of the games, isn't it?
I think it's just like similar to how there's Horizon content in
Monster Hunter.
Adding some Final Fantasy bits and pieces.
It was fine. Like
I don't know if it's anything crazy. After that, it was the trailer for Dragon Quest.
Yeah, that was cool. I did like the look of that.
I mean,
I've not actually played a Dragon Quest game, but it looked good.
I've played a few Dragon Quest games. They're pretty exciting.
So and that looked, it did look good.
This was the main one.
There wasn't I have to say there wasn't a lot they showed that we haven't already either heard about or seen stuff of.
Yeah,
that's Square Enix's conferences for you though. So.
What else was there? They talked a little bit about Life is Strange.
Yeah, well, because
Captain's...
yeah,
Captain Spirit.
they explained that is going to be, it's going to be tied to Life is Strange 2.
Yeah.
In some way. I know it's in the universe, but everyone thought it was going to be standalone after we've seen that first lot of stuff. But yeah, apparently quite a bit of it will tie into... It's almost like, not a prequel, but an introduction to what's happening in Life is Strange 2. So, it looks good. I mean, it's the typical style, you know. It was good. We didn't see much more than what we've seen, other than them explaining how it fits into the canon.
There's not really much you can show with a narrative.
No, absolutely. Like that, so no, it was good. It was good.
Kingdom Hearts. They show some Ratatouille stuff in it or something.
Yeah, Kingdom.
Just like the Sony conference.
It's such a blur of because I was gonna say because Ratatouille, because Kingdom Hearts has been shown on so many things so far.
They're just trying to show something new every time.
And like it, yeah. So it was just more okay. Here's some characters that are going to be in it. This, you know, it looks fantastic. I mean, it's looking really, really good. But it's once again, it's not really showing us. I think it's getting to a point that we're starting to see too much. By the time we get to the release of that game, we're going to know everyone who's in it, which does take a bit of the appeal from me. Like I'd like surprises in that.
It's nice getting to a new world and being like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, like adding that in there. But then you never know. Like they'll probably still will surprise us because that kind of.
I mean, I was going to say. I mean, it's going to be a fairly an expansive game. So.
Oh yeah, it's huge. Like hours and hours will be put into that game. So.
Did they show anything on Just Cause 4?
Oh, same trailer that was shown.
Okay.
Really. I'll be honest with you. Pretty much everything that Square Enix showed, for the most part, was some reiteration of what had already been shown at either like the Microsoft conference or previous to E3.
So after that, then it was just a teaser for Babylon's Fall and The Quiet Man.
Yeah, Quiet Man looked interesting.
Yeah, I watched the teaser.
Yeah, they didn't show an awful lot, but it looks like an interesting game. So I'd be interested to see more of that.
Did they show anything on Hitman?
No.
They don't own Hitman anymore.
Oh.
Let that developer go. So.
Oh wow. Okay.
Let them take Hitman with them.
Isn't
Hitman?
Isn't Hitman being developed by just a team dedicated to Hitman now? Like their own little studio thing?
Yeah, so it was their own team that Square Enix bought, and when they bought that team, they got Hitman as well. When they let that developer go.
He's talking and nothing's coming up on his microphone.
What do you mean?
Yeah, nothing's coming out of Matt's microphone at all. Like, there's no wavelengths on his mic at all. So number one, the first one, is that Matt?
Yeah, no, he's got spots. His voice. See, look there.
Oh yeah, I've got tiny little ones.
Yeah, his did that yesterday. That's fine.
Alright, I'll I just didn't see anything, and I was like, oh no, Matt's not talking again.
Yeah, no, he should be fine.
Okay.
What was that saying? Scroll back down.
I just derailed the momentum, Sean.
Listening to me, what's that saying?
We're talking about Hitman.
Yes, they got to keep that IP when they left. So, because Square Enix were like, well, that developer's, you know, all they've got is Hitman. Like the thing, so
you're not exactly leaving them with much.
Yeah, so they WB bought them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I don't remember that.
Oh yeah, that's the end of Square Enix, isn't it?
Yeah, so like I said, they really just reiterated what we'd already seen. Maybe introduce little bits and pieces of things into the fold, but nothing too significant.
Right. Well, then on to Ubisoft, where they opened with Dance Number.
Which I didn't see. I also slept through Ubisoft because
the Dance Number was good.
Yeah, like
hey!
What's up?
There she just put her tag up.
So once the Dance Number finished, they opened with the
It'll follow her.
like the cinematic for Beyond Good and Evil 2.
That game's looks just phenomenal. But
oh yeah, like that's one of the games which is just like they have to make that perfect because so many people are just like.
Looks like it's gonna be a big open world. Like
will be pretty cool when it comes.
It's also worth mentioning that Ubisoft forgot to turn their mics off when they walked off stage, and it was such a sweet moment of like, we did well, like they were like, we nailed it.
Oh, that's great.
And it was like,
like in the back.
it happened twice in that press conference. There was another one a little bit later on.
Twice? You wouldn't think
No.
that they'd learn after the first time.
Yeah, well, no, it was. I can't remember what game it was after the second time, and it wasn't as significant. But hers was like absolutely crystal clear because I think
like the one in the Sony's one where it was panning over the audience, and then somebody was like, "Don't tell me what to do."
Yeah, that was
that
so
after it come
good.
up like you can pre-order now.
You can't tell me
or
what to do.
So yeah,
It's just after a normal gameplay footage. Like after the gameplay ended, it panned over the crowd, and I might pick somebody up or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
he was an angry man.
They were just trying to get somebody's excited like screams, and they're like, "You can't tell me what to do."
I don't know if somebody sitting next to him was asked him something, or if like maybe he was.
But how could you be so verbally offended to that degree? Like, like so.
So after that, they announced that Trials is back. Trials Rising.
And it's coming to Switch.
Yeah.
That was good. Yeah, that's. I'm gonna give that a go.
Trials game. Trials game's fun. I enjoy it.
Kind of all the same. I played one. I played them all.
Pretty much.
I don't love them enough to be excited for a sequel. And then they talked more about Division 2, which we heard plenty about already this E3.
We certainly have.
Yeah. Then Donkey Kong Adventure for Mario plus Rabbids got a release date.
Oh,
And it had they did a presentation in which it was like live music playing to the actual like presentation.
that's cool.
That's very cool. And it was yeah,
The composers of that.
and it was yeah, and there was the hints of traditional Donkey Kong music but remixed. It was good. It's really good.
Very nice.
So that game's great. So what that DLC should be good.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. It's nice to finally have a release date for it. It's like June 26th.
The one thing I'll say so far, Ubisoft, which I'm not surprised because Ubisoft has supported the Switch from the word go, but they have gone, yep, Switch, yep, this is on Switch. You know, there was quite a bit of mention of the Switch, which was awesome. Whereas the other developers haven't really mentioned it heavily. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Yeah, Nintendo will pretty much just...
I'm hoping that Nintendo actually puts a greater focus on, not to get onto Nintendo too much, but on third-party support.
Yeah, I'm sure they will.
And that's, yeah.
I feel like in their conference, like they'll want... Because obviously like they're just in their second year, obviously, now of the Switch. So they kind of want to have that driving force for the console. So they'll be like, anything which we were like, oh, they didn't get a Switch release for that, they'll announce that at their conference.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think developers have had enough time now to start showing their support for it.
Yeah.
I mean, from the looks of it, we're getting Fortnite tomorrow.
I think
Games.
I think 100% that Nintendo, out of all the developers at the moment, has got the greatest to gain but a lot to lose if they don't nail it.
Yeah. But
Sure,
we'll get over that hill when we get to it.
So
even based on the leaks, like I said, the leaks that look genuine and not just the out there leaks.
yeah.
There was one leak that was we'll talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was going to say, there's going to be so much to cover with Nintendo.
So then they showed gameplay for Skull and Bones.
It's like, the best way I'd describe that, it's kind of like Sea of Thieves on steroids.
To me, it looked like Sea of, even though it's going to have multiplayer, it looked like just more of a single player focused type game.
Yeah.
But apparently there's going to be some sort of multiplayer in there that didn't really seem to go.
Well, I think it'll would just take all the good sea fighting, like all the pirate shit from Assassin's Creed 4,
Yeah.
plus a bunch of other like
It's
pirate
more
assets.
combat based because you're not leaving your ship, so
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah.
about like sea warfare.
Although there was a moment where you could board the other person's ship, so I don't know how that's going to work.
Yeah, I don't know.
It was
They'll
hard
figure
to
it out,
understand
I'm sure.
what you were actually going to be able to do.
Possessing ships.
Yeah.
Then Elijah Wood came out on stage to show more of that Transference game that was, I'm pretty sure they announced that last year. I
Yeah.
don't think that was a reveal, but
No, I don't think it was a reveal.
Never mentioned
Oh,
that.
we've seen it. We've seen it at some stage,
Yeah.
and the crowd was very keen, especially when they seen it was Elijah Wood.
that was weird. Still don't really feel like I know all that much about
No.
it.
They were like, oh my god, somebody let their toddler up on stage. Oh no, it's Elijah Wood.
I may or may not. Matt told me off to. I may or may not said go back to the Shire, but that's okay.
How dare you.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watched Lord of the Rings will know that he sailed east.
So yeah, no,
West.
It was.
I can't remember.
It's an interesting concept, but yeah, you don't.
It's heavily story based.
Yeah. That's a VR experience, isn't it?
I'm not sure.
I
It
think.
definitely looks like it. Yeah, at least optional VR or something.
And then after that, we've got
Star Fox in Starlink.
that was yeah.
So they just showed gameplay for Starlink first, which was nice to see. Or like in engine at least.
Yeah.
But then they went from that to the little teaser trailer that introduced Star Fox. So
And then
that's
they gave Shigeru Miyamoto a like replica prototype of the what's going to be for the game.
the R-Wing.
That's
Have you seen? I actually had a look on because I think it's come up on.
Oops, put up what the actual starter pack looks like.
It looks
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
I'm so keen for that.
Definitely keen for that.
So definitely getting that one on
Do all
Switch.
that-
I mean, I was going to get it
do a
on.
Star Fox game.
I would have got it on Switch anyway for the most part, but to see it that's awesome.
And I'm just glad the whole building aspect of the ships. They didn't mention it this year, but I'm fairly certain last year they said all of that's optional.
Yes, yeah, they did last year. Yeah,
So I can put the R-Wing and the Star Fox figure on the shelf. It'll look cool, and I don't ever need to buy
it's an amazingly
Another figure
detailed figure. Even the just looking at the
Awesome.
prototype.
Yeah.
Like, whereas if I bought another console, it'd be crap. I would just
Plus-
in the drawer. Plus R-Wing section.
Plus,
Yeah,
that gave
exactly,
us
you
another
could do
one
it.
of those moments between the CEO of Ubisoft and Miyamoto. They've got this.
Interacting with each
Yeah,
other.
they've just got this
You
weird.
still
They are definitely fucking. I stand by it.
so yeah, that was cool.
um,
And then they just went into some minor things like expansion pack for Foreigner, so they're gonna
Yeah.
keep supporting that, and then the open beta for the crew Crew 2 that's coming up
yeah,
soon.
the Marching Fire update for Honor.
Yeah. So then from there they showed
Yes.
gameplay for Assassin's Creed Odyssey.
Which, yeah.
Looks good.
Mm.
It does look very good. I
Nothing
like.
that's exciting for me because obviously I'm into that kind of shit.
It's a nice setting. I mean, I liked I didn't play Origins, but I liked the setting of Origins because it was Egypt as something different. This is different again, and it was like even just saying like I think they had the Pantheon and all these other like iconic Greek
And that was
things.
the nice thing about the originals with like seeing them build out like Italy.
Yeah.
Just how detailed that was.
Seeing then the RPG elements of storylines and stuff like that, and being able to say and stuff like that. That's just a cool little feature,
so
which I'm glad that
the
they've kind
dialogue options and being able to pick between playing as a male or female character.
Yeah.
And the one thing because I so over Assassin's Creed at that point, it became a franchise that I just loved so much, just not really caring about. I don't really dislike it. It's just like I just don't
yes,
wanna
like
play
it's
it.
just exhausted. It's an
Yeah,
exhausted
it's
franchise
exhausting.
at this point. So
But the one cool thing about like in the gameplay that I saw was a scene where it shows like a big battle taking place and the amount of people that are on screen and like everything going on kind of reminded me of what Unity did, where they were big on like huge crowds of people and then they really scaled it back for the next few games because clearly it just it's a lot of resource was on the consoles was like just going into these crowds of people that wasn't really important.
Yeah, they were just a visual thing more than anything else.
But this time around it looks like they're leaning more into that for like kind of larger scale battles. Cool.
No, definitely.
And that was about it from Ubisoft's. It didn't drag on anywhere near as much as last year's,
No.
where I fell asleep at one point during the Ubisoft's one because they just talked about Steep forever, which looks like a cool game, but I just was very tired.
It was a concise. It was a fairly concise.
It wasn't over an hour, but it didn't feel like it.
Yeah, it flowed well. It was fairly concise, and it got to the point.
Did
with
we
most
see
things.
Aisha Tyler?
No, there was no Aisha Tyler.
No poster of any kind. It was just like kind of trailer to trailer.
Yeah.
There you go.
There wasn't a lot of filler content in
Much
between.
more streamlined this
Yeah,
year, so,
absolutely.
yeah, that was good. I
Um,
definitely enjoyed it.
And then, of course, we move on to the Sony press conference, which was good, and there was
Much better than I was expecting.
It's
I went into it with very low expectations.
well, because they opened with like a panel thing to start with.
Yeah,
With
with that. Well, no, they didn't open with the panel.
Was
They
that-
opened
did
with
It
the
was
church.
pre-show.
It's a pre-show.
That
Yeah, it's
counts,
pre-show.
since every thing definitely did that. sort of started with a pre-show. We just never watched them.
Yeah, because they did the church, and then they showed the Last of Us gameplay, which was really cool. How they're like, oh yeah, that's a really immersive thing, and like, I like that they did that, but it's also like, well, none of us are fucking there, so this doesn't have any immersion to us at all.
Yeah.
Well, to begin with, it was just puzzling. I'm like, what is this? What is this space they've like rented out?
Sean was about to repent all
I didn't realise
the.
they were going to leave. Like, I just figured they would stay there. Considering it was they said it was going to be like just deep dives into stuff. I figured it was like more intimate, like setting where we're just going to sit there and just walk through some gameplay. But then when they moved, it did open up to be more like a
proper traditional
press conference.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Well, yeah, because we had the church. I mean, so the Last of Us 2 gameplay, which was like awesome to see, and I'm like really stoked, and I just don't want them to show any more of it because obviously with a game like that, I've seen enough now. They didn't give us a date, which was the weirdest thing on that. I mean, it's good because Naughty Dog have a bit of a reputation now for like releasing it, like announcing a game and then being like, okay, let's push it back.
I feel like back in the day that wasn't the case, and then the last few games.
Yeah, I just mean like for the last ones, like Uncharted 4, obviously, even like I'm pretty sure even Lost Legacy came out a bit after what they planned.
Yeah, I think
Last of Us probably had a delay as well.
I was going to say, I'm pretty sure Lost Legacy got pushed by a couple of weeks.
So I think that like they just know they're like, okay, let's not put a final date on that. Let's make sure we know what date it's going to come out before we announce it.
It's still a ways off, but it was nice to see.
Yeah, well, like considering how polished the game already looks, and like all the dynamic features and stuff like that were phenomenal.
It's definitely want to play through the first one.
I have to finish the first one. I might go jump back to the start and start again.
It's one of those games that are good enough that every couple of years I'm just gonna.
Exactly. Like I go back. I'm on my 4th playthrough of Last of Us at the moment, and I'm just slowly picking through at it. You know, just
probably about the same. I think I played through it twice on PS3 and twice on PS4. So
yeah,
definitely closer to it coming out. I want to play through it again.
Yeah, no, it's a very cool game, and yeah, like so that gameplay was awesome to see, and like you know, all those that great transition from two girls making out to stabbing somebody brutally in the throat.
Yeah,
I was like, that was just awesome to see. I was like, I think they knew what game they were playing, and they played it right.
Just reading through Twitter and that's one thing everyone said, like their Naughty Dog isn't backing off on the violence level in this at this point. Like it was like whoa.
I'm stoked, but also like I'm fucking worried because our fucking our rating system is little bitches in Australia. So,
but it was pretty.
If I don't get Last of Us, I will riot.
Like especially that last bit where she like puts the machete through his neck. Like it was so detailed to the point. It's like oh my god.
You might have missed the very first opening of Violence where she stabs this guy in the neck.
Is that
it's clearly not doing the job, so she pulls it out and puts it back in a different spot.
I must have missed that.
It's pretty full on.
It was very and which I thought it was like, you know, that's the tone which The Last of Us tries to set as well. They try and set like this really dark, gritty set, and they're like, you're doing shit like that. It's like that's how fucked up it is when you kill somebody.
And like graphically, when you think like the first game couldn't look any better, like seeing the sequel, and then just like, and you can crawl on the ground. I was so excited. I was like, but the other thing which I've noticed, they have not shown a single zombie at all of The Last of Us. No, not in any videos, not in any gameplay at all. Like they are just focusing completely on the world. To focus on, I think because Dying Light did the same thing, like focus more.
Yeah, on which is, and I think like again, it's like they're trying to like because you know obviously the oversaturation of zombie market, but and then I think that like The Last of Us as well because it's more focused around the characters and the story and stuff like that, and it was weird to see like an actual formed community like happily dancing in this area at the start, and I was like, holy shit, it's almost as if this could have been before an apocalypse, but then it's like you remember that everything's fucked up. It's weird to see, but
it was very cool. Finally see more on that.
Yeah, so then moving on from there, where did we...
They had a tiny little announcement between things, which was just that God of War is getting a new game plus. Everyone's been asking for that, so I'm like, we heard you. Like,
which isn't surprising. I thought they were going to already announce DLC for the next year or so, but I guess it was super pretty fresh.
From what I remember reading, and correct me if I'm wrong, I vaguely remember them saying that they have no DLC plans for God of War.
I have no idea at all, but I wouldn't be surprised.
The new game plus is not a surprise, but I don't think they've got any expansion plans at all.
Yeah,
that's nice that a game can just be for the the most part pretty much done.
Yeah.
So from there we got the Ghost of Tsushima gameplay.
Yeah, which looked really pretty. Like, it was very cool.
Although I can't watch that now and not think of what you said about Mr. Bean running across a roof
It's
from a Snickers.
It was
ad.
the
It's
exact scene of Mr. Bean eating a Snickers and then falling through a roof.
So every time I see that now, I'm just picturing him running across the. But no, that
welcome,
game,
everybody.
that does look good.
Nice to see what Sucker Punch have been working on since they finished the last Infamous game.
So,
Yeah.
but no,
That's
yeah,
They
no.
could have just had him sit in the air, and then it just pans over and turns really cartoony, and then we could have Sly Cooper, but it's fine.
I'm sure there'll be a reference in some way or another.
Yeah, a reference to the fact the movie never came out.
Yeah.
Alright, continue. I'm not bitter.
Yeah, so a decent amount of gameplay is that from that, and then they moved into more of like a press conference thing of just like a bunch of short trailers.
Yeah.
So we got Control, which while we're watching was just like this.
We were just like sitting there, we're like, oh my god,
Break.
Quantum Break for PlayStation?
And at the end, it
Oh.
says Remedy, and we're like, yeah, okay.
Yeah, that makes a lot of fucking sense.
So,
Like,
yeah, I want to know if that ties into it in any way. And
even
Yeah.
if not, like, it's still pretty fucking cool that they're doing it. Like, it looks like a really interesting and awesome game. So I'm excited to see what comes from it.
Yeah.
That's a developer I'm surprised Microsoft didn't purchase.
Yeah, that's a big one because obviously, like, with Quantum Break being a first party
And before
release
that,
on the Xbox, and then Alan Wake being like almost exclusively
and then
Xbox as well.
before that, Remedy did Max Payne, and I'm not sure how many of those came out on consoles other than
Yeah.
Xbox. I think some of them were multi-platform, like maybe the first
three
one.
was on the
first one,
PS3 as well.
possibly.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I remember I've definitely seen one or two on the PS3, but yeah. No, it's yeah. I guess maybe there could have been anything. Like, there could have been Fallout with Xbox. Nothing. Who knows?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not sure how well Quantum Break sold, but I really liked it.
It was an awesome game. Like, I would definitely recommend it personally.
Yeah, it's fun.
But yeah,
Then we got the Resident Evil 2 remake.
which
Oh,
was
God.
very cool.
That-
Ratatouille.
That looked stunning.
Yeah.
Like that, they've just. Oh my god.
They've been they announced that so many years ago and then just haven't said a word since.
Yeah.
Which
It's
I
been cancelled, what's going on.
almost like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, people wondered why it was taking so long because it was meant to be a straight, just HD version of Resident Evil 2. Like, it wasn't, they weren't going to change the gameplay or go too crazy with
Do you
it.
think that?
They completely rebuilt the game.
Do you think to some degree, I mean, don't get me wrong, they've probably done a lot of the work before that, but do you think some of the success of Resident Evil 7 has had any impact on that?
Well,
Maybe. I don't know.
7 overall.
I mean,
like,
7's
it
different.
sold well. 7's release wasn't anywhere near as big as I think they anticipated.
No, but
And
over a
the
period of
remake
time, it's
Resident
done
Evil
well.
1 sold really well from.
That's what I mean. Like the remakes would have
So
been
I
what.
thought going into Resident Evil 2, they'd be like, let's get this out. The remake of the first one sold
Especially
really well.
considering they did 4, 5, and 6 for the PS4
pull
and
those
next
out.
next
Yeah.
gen.
And barely touched those. It was just like,
All right,
nicer
let's slap a
textures,
fucking
PC
texture on it and
textures,
then
get it onto console.
pretty much.
Yeah.
Whereas like so for 2 it was like awesome to see that they've because I know like obviously on the internet everyone's fucking crazy about wanting that game
Even
to
the
come out.
audience, like, I feel like that was the loudest.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
It's just
It's
insane.
been the loudest reaction at E3 thus far.
The
Which
fact
is-
that they've completely rebuilt it because the gameplay wouldn't be anything like Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 was tank controls, top down, like
Yeah.
and suddenly it's like Resident Evil 4 behind the camera, like
Yeah, which is like it's weird because I'm in this situation because obviously like I really wanted a remake, but at the same time I was like me and you were kind of sitting there like, is it just another Resident Evil game like set in that
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
time frame? And I was super excited for that as well because I was like, man, I just want like because the thing with Resident Evil obviously they did 7, which was obviously kind of a step away from all the other Resident Evil stuff. Like there were references to Resident Evil, but it wasn't really a Resident Evil game.
a Resident Evil game that I'm surprised they called Resident Evil 7 because it could have very easily been
Just a standalone thing with a reference to Resident
Yeah.
Evil 7 in it. Like, yeah.
because they do plenty of Resident Evil spin-offs anyway that I feel like this could have fit perfectly.
Yeah,
But as far as
exactly.
I know, there has been some comments or leaks or things that because they're developing Resident Evil 8 at the moment, and apparently that will be linked to 7.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I mean. Like, it's such a departure when I think there are a group of people that like the way it was that a spin-off can still have sequels.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil Revelations as a spin-off was an awesome game that did so well that got a sequel.
Yeah.
And I feel like this could have been the same thing, but now it kind of feels like
this is the direction they're taking, and the only
Yeah,
way that
I mean,
they're going
they
to
could have
do
just
the
called
old-
it. They could have just called it Resident Evil Biohazard.
Yeah.
And just left it at that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. It's like I still like there'll be hardcore Resident Evil fans and like fans of Capcom in general who were like, I really was keen for another Resident Evil game. And then they got 7, and they're like, it's cool, but it's not like it doesn't feel like Resident Evil game overall.
Yeah. I feel like the mainline games are going to stick to that path now, and then maybe the spin-offs is what will get us more like traditional Resident Evil style gameplay, which isn't even traditional, and I guess it shouldn't surprise me considering there are people who probably said the same thing for Resident Evil 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
When it was like top-down tank controls, and then when 4 came out, it goes to third person, and I'm sure there were people being like,
Oh, they
Yeah.
would have
"This
been.
isn't
Yeah.
what I like."
Change is always going to have mixed reaction for most part, you know.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then after that, we got a trailer for Trover Saves the Universe.
Which was cool. I was like, it was cool that they're taking like, cause when I saw that it was like made by Squanch Games or whatever it is, like obviously the Rick and Morty publisher. I was like, they're just gonna make another Rick and Morty game, and
So
they're
I
not gonna
think
put
it's
any
their
effort into it.
Third game, because they did Accounting Plus.
Yeah.
Actually, no, they didn't do
They
the
did-
Rick and Morty VR game.
They
So-
did Pocket Mortys, didn't they?
Maybe,
I'm pretty sure they did Pocket Mortys.
Because the VR game was made by.
everybody should
Owls?
aspire. Everybody should.
Well, I mean, like I know that I'm pretty sure they worked on Rick and Morty VR as
I'm
well,
sure they
but
did,
yeah,
it was primarily by Alchemy Labs.
Alchemy, yeah.
The
Everybody should aspire to be Bathtub Man.
So
Well, that's the
that
thing,
looked
like,
interesting.
which-
It's the normal kind of humor.
Exactly, and it was like you had that improv kind of like thing. where
Even
it
the
was just like-
tone, like the way he was talking, was
It
like
looked
it's
like-
such a Rick and Morty like style thing.
A good like the next game from Accounting Plus. So.
Yeah, and I thought it was just cool that they were just like, let's not just keep riding that Rick and Morty wave from so long. Let's try and like branch off and do something else.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool. And it's like you're still using the same kind of humor and like interest in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, just going in your own direction.
It's in the style of, but a different
Yeah,
direction.
exactly. It was awesome to
Yeah,
see,
no,
so.
it was good. It was good.
And then Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer.
Now, I will say one thing about that. As much as they covered so much about Kingdom Hearts, oh my god, the characters from Pirates of the Caribbean just looked fucking amazing. Like,
Yeah.
they just looked
That's the nice thing with that game, that every world looks exactly like.
the detail.
Yeah, like jumping into it feels like it immerses you in the movie.
Are
in that way.
those
It's like,
voices? Are any of the voices in that the people who?
I know some are.
Because
don't
I have
know
to say,
it's
if that wasn't Johnny Depp, that sounded exactly like
I mean,
Johnny
he's
Depp.
had good stand-ins for a majority of the.
'Cause-
Yeah, like I was gonna say, like all the live action. I don't know if they'll actually wear him in the other ones, but they definitely did sound like him in those
And
two.
Barbosa, oh my god, Barbosa looked amazing.
Yeah, I'm not entirely.
They all did,
I
like
think he's
Gibbs,
only
man.
voiced himself. I think he's only voiced Jack in one video game,
Yeah,
which was the Legend of Jack Sparrow.
yeah.
He's not done any of the others.
and
as far
Tia
as I know.
Dalma, she looked good. Naomi Harris's
Yeah.
character.
Yeah, no. Like that's the thing. Like a lot of the characters and stuff like that, and that's what like when it was cool because obviously in the other, I'm pretty sure like I haven't played with Kingdom Hearts in a while, but I'm pretty sure in the first Kingdom Hearts games they never actually had unique costumes for the Pirates of the Caribbean world. I'm pretty sure they're just running around in their normal clothes, which was cool to see just in the style of the trailer. I was like, oh cool, they're like actually adapting like that whole like style of like, oh you guys are gonna be like really committed pirates now. So
Yeah, and in the Toy Story world, use their toys, and in the Monsters Inc. world, they're monsters, and like each world looks exactly like from the movie.
Yeah,
So the
exactly,
Toy
and they
Story
try
world
and
is
make the characters
exactly
not look
like
like they're
Toy
out of
Story.
place in that world. Like
Yeah.
the more Disney worlds, they still look like their characters because they were built to be Disney characters. You know what I mean?
absolutely.
Yeah,
Whereas with that, they were just like, okay, let's just take them and put them in there. Like the Pixar stuff, they're like, let's just make them seem like they're supposed to be there. And I think that's what's
in
awesome.
The Toy
that-
Story one, they're actual figurines. You can see the hinges on.
Yeah,
them.
exactly,
Yeah.
which is really cool to see.
Yeah, no, and I think that's what makes the characters that they make, and they're so immersive, or like you're looking at them going, oh my god, because they are so detailed in that way. They make sure those little details are there. They might seem insignificant when you're talking about it, but if they weren't there, they wouldn't look convincing
Yeah.
at all. So
And then we'll see at the end of that, we'll manage to see Axel Sora. It'll be great.
We got gameplay for Death Stranding.
Yep, which still makes no fucking sense.
That game, I don't
People were
understand
like live
that.
tweeting, they're like, "Oh my god, Death Stranding finally makes sense now." I was like, "Did you see the same shit I fucking saw?"
I don't understand what's going on there. Like I said while we were watching it, at one stage I was like, "Is this like a delivery man simulator?" Because he's just carrying shit around and walking from one. It's like, what is going on here?
Every time I see a trailer for Kingdom Hearts 3 and Death Stranding, it's just I have more questions than
like you're just left guessing. Like
it's just people saying random lines that don't mean anything.
Exactly. They're like, let's put this little bit of dialogue which will make sense to one person.
And they revealed 2 new characters. I don't know who the final person was. I didn't recognize them, but I did recognize. Recognized Leah Seydoux from Spectre from James Bond movie.
Yeah.
She's been in a lot of other things as well, but So and that's also a credit to how detailed those people are. They look exactly like them.
Yeah, it's I honestly, like, speaking, I just don't care too much about Death Stranding. Like, I love Kojima. I love his work.
Until we actually get to play the game, I don't understand it.
Yeah,
it just makes no sense.
They're like the only reason, and they're going on that weird kind of movie mentality where it's like people will buy that game just so that they understand it. And it's like, that'll also not sell.
Why do you think it is like that? I mean, you look at the fact that Guillermo del Toro's in it, and collaborating with Kojima on that.
Yeah.
You look at his movies; they are just bizarre. I mean, Shape of Water, for example, his most recent film, is bizarre. And that's just his style. Kojima's the same. So
I definitely get that, but it's like
you've got these two very
at least when you're like, I
people.
think when you're watching a trailer for even a movie such like Shape of Water, you're like, okay, I get the general premise of this.
Yeah.
But you watch a fucking trailer for Death Stranding, you're like, okay, he's carrying some boxes around. Oh, this chick just ate a worm. Oh, look, he's ripping off the fucking toenail.
I guess.
I forgot about the toenail.
To me, it was it's no different to me, because to me it's exactly the same as what Metal Gear Solid 5 was.
Yeah.
All those trailers they were putting out for Metal Gear Solid 5, I was like, I have no idea what the fuck is going on.
Yeah.
We've had a great many games before this, and I still don't know what the hell is going on.
It's just Kojima's style at the moment.
Yeah.
He's keeping everyone guessing.
And then I played Metal Gear Solid 5, and I still didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
All these weird people teleporting around and all this random shit, and I didn't finish it, but I don't think if I did finish it,
it was
I don't think. I was
going
to say, from what I've read, no, you would have no idea what's going on.
Yeah, it's a weird game.
Yeah.
To be fair, it's the same when I play Kingdom Hearts, and I have no idea what's going on.
You're like, okay, oh, cool. I really like the Disney dialogue, and they're like, all right, let's talk about Organization 13.
Yeah.
You done?
I'll watch like an hour and a half video that tries to explain the story to me. I'm like, I still don't know.
Oh, okay, so that person. Never mind.
Yeah, nah. So
then after that, we got the teaser for Neo 2, and then they jumped into Spider-Man gameplay,
which was awesome. I'm so fucking excited for Spider-Man.
Spider-Man's looking good.
Somebody who's played Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 2, like,
I've played that.
Fucking
good.
Hours and hours in that game.
That
That
made me want to go back and play it.
Oh god. My butt.
I also like the fact, which they've made it really clear, is that it's not here we're introducing Spider-Man, it's an experienced
which
Spider-Man.
is fucking awesome. And like seeing,
let's cut all the crap out that we've dealt with on multiple occasions. Let's just go into it.
Smidge of gameplay, and then after the conference ended, just solid gameplay, like somebody actually playing it. It's like, man, that really made the world.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
I was just like, man, and it looks like it's, and the way they said it as well was like, oh, the controls are easy to pick up, but then it's like when you would get into the technicalities of them to master the controls, I was like, oh my god, it's gonna be so good.
And then obviously in between all the videos, they had some things that were generated in Dreams. Like little cutscene things that they made in Dreams. To put in between.
Dreams is cool. Like,
Dreams
I'm
are
excited
weird.
for Dreams.
I think the creativeness of that will suit someone like yourself who is very creative. For me, I'd just go, what the fuck am I doing?
I'm worried about...
I mean, it was the same with Little Big Planet.
Yeah, true.
Like, I never made anything in Little Big Planet. I just played.
Exactly, and like being able to play other people's creations and stuff like that. I'm just worried, like the only thing I'm worried about with Dreams is obviously the Project Spark, which came out for Xbox like 3-4 years ago now. Seeing like how that kind of just tanked. Like, I'm really worried that Dreams is going to have the same thing, which like I really want Media Molecule to succeed, because obviously they have done Little Big Planet and they've made other stuff like that.
Do you think it's because it's got those kind of things don't have like structure, if that makes sense.
Well, that's the thing. It's like that's.
I mean, that's what it's meant to be, but like
speaking just like even just from any kind of creative point of view, it's like you get that overwhelmed feeling by like a blank canvas that you just like. It's like when you went to create a level in like Little Big Planet. I don't know if you ever even tried. But it's like it's easy as to control, but it's like, oh, but what do I want to do here? And then you just keep erasing it, and then you're like, oh fuck. I've been looking at this for an hour and a half, and I've got like 2 jumps and a fucking rope climb. Like,
I like those kind of things, and because another thing's like Mario Maker. I know it's a little bit different, but it's still level creation stuff. I love seeing what people make. I couldn't make something that.
Well, that's the thing. Like even with Mario Maker, like I think even it also struggles from that same thing where it's like direction is high, and with creation and direction, it's hard to get something which will make you want to just jump in and be like, I know exactly how my level is going to play out, because like that's why video games take so long to make.
Yeah, I was going to say, and how many?
I prefer having a piece of graph paper and drawing out a level on the graph paper before I would.
And that's the thing.
You want
who like
blueprint it up?
What casual gamer's going to go? You know what? I'm going to do some level design and get out their graph paper, and then they're just not
exactly.
So.
Which is cool because Dreams has that thing where it's like you can make games where it's like, okay, I want to kind of make a small little animation or something like that, and it'll be cool to have that. And it's like if there's ever anyone who doesn't really like know how to like show off their creativity or stuff like that, they feel like they don't have creative skills, it's a really cool device to like jump in and play around with.
But they've talked about, not today but in other interviews I listened to, about the fact that it's going to have a big part of like collaboration involved in it. Where you don't necessarily need to be someone who's going to be like, I'm going to make my own game. You can be somebody who's like, I'm going to make my own artwork, I'm going to make my own assets, I'm going to make my own music. And then those pieces on their own go up onto their servers and then can be used.
Yeah, exactly. It'd be like, oh, cool, I've got this really cool character which I've like drawn really badly on a piece of paper, and it'll be like, oh, I can just like put that on there, like, oh, cool, I found a picture I drew when I was 5. I might make that in Dreams.
Exactly.
Just fucking.
And somebody else is making a game and they're like, I need some random character here.
And you'll be like, here, have String Man who has 18 fingers for some reason.
Just make like cool music. And somebody is making a game that needs music.
Exactly.
Take this or request this.
Then also, like, when they were showing that little bit of gameplay where there was 2 people, like, making a level at once, or one person.
Yeah, and they were spreading that grass.
That would be really cool in the sense where it's like, okay, like, me and, like, we'll just be, like, hang out one night and be like, oh, let's just fuck around. Let's just fucking make a level. Like, who cares, man, you know?
It's definitely something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
Messing around with, but I think for the most part I'd find myself playing other people's.
Yeah, exactly. Which I think it would be cool. And then like as even Sony wants to create stuff, we'll be like, okay, cool, I'll get this, take inspiration from it, and then make it into something else. Like track.
The only level creation thing I've kind of gotten into in any game was when they had it in Smash Bros. Brawl.
Yeah.
And I remember being in like early high school, I would draw because the scope is a lot smaller, so you'll be like, I'm just making a stage. Not making a sprawling level.
No.
It's just one stage that I'm going to find. Like,
okay, you've got a blank. It's like having just a canvas, and you're just filling that space. Once it's full, you're full. So
one screen.
Yeah.
Whereas where do you draw a limit? Like if you're not that way inclined, where do you draw a limit in building such a big world in Dreams? You know, like you just. It might be too big. It might end up just being an empty wasteland.
I'm just like hoping that with Dreams they just like open it up so it can be like, okay, this is the kind of game I want to make, and you can kind of just form it. So you could make like, oh, I'll make this world, and then it'll be like, I'll make like a Gang Beasts kind of level, and you can play with your friends and throw them off the stage and stuff like that.
It seems open enough that you can do things like that. So
yeah, which is like I'm super excited for, and I feel like it's going to be the thing which kind of like gets the ball rolling for just like game developers which you never heard of before, or just people like who want to get the game out. They'll be like, oh, cool. You can use this as a portfolio for like, I've made some video games and Dreams, like, hey, fucking, I've got a good creative mind, I've got a good idea for a game, like, you should suss it out.
It's like 3D Game Maker, it's just like, almost like an engine that you kind of
exactly, but instead of like, oh, you have to sit through 10 hours of tutorials, it's like, okay, you can just slap shit on there, and then like, you can learn all the technical stuff as you go.
They've done all the background programming for you, basically. Yeah.
It's definitely going to be interesting to see what people make of it.
Yeah.
So overall I was pleasantly surprised with it.
So Sony like walking in, none of us had expectations. Sony handled it quite well. Yeah, no, I was quite pleased with how they did it because it was different to what they normally do. But like what's his name, Sean Layton said, different what they wanted to do this year because they were more going into in-depth stuff that we already basically knew about. So they changed the style of their conference and it worked. So
which I think. I think they're going to learn a lot from this conference. I think it was like awesome for, like they said, it was awesome for anyone that was going to be there. But then people watching it, the breaks in between stuff I feel like could have been just fielded in a different way, like just more thought out in a sense. Whereas like if you're watching from home, it's like I don't want to listen to these guys just talk for like 20 minutes.
See, I didn't mind that because I listen to a podcast each week with all those guys. in it.
Exactly.
So for me, I was like, oh, cool, they're there.
Which like
Sean, you're not a good enough fan then.
I was like, I don't mind so much, but it's just like I know that a lot of people who want to watch E3 and they just want to watch game releases and stuff like that.
I think this is going to be what they're going to usually do going
No.
forwards.
Yeah. Oh no, 100%.
I think next year, once a lot of these games are out or have dates, they'll
They've-
kind of go back.
They'll go back to reveal
and
stuff.
that's the thing as well. It's like I think every single conference at E3, like they always learn. Like that is the one thing I give to every single person at E3. Is like
Except
they
for
get.
EA.
EA just doesn't give a shit because they're just like people are gonna fucking buy FIFA. We could literally just walk out, throw our shoes at people, and then fucking walk off stage. People are still gonna buy it.
So it's hard to say with Sony is because it was so different last year, but outside of that, every other conference was an improvement over last year.
Oh, absolutely.
except for EA's.
Yeah, which like and that's the thing. Like
Square
I think
Enix
like
didn't do one last year, so I think nothing to doing a 30
Yeah,
year
it's
one is
the same.
kind of an improvement.
exactly, and then it's like with like Bethesda especially. Like again, going back to that, it's like they learned. Like Todd Howard's like, okay, people give me shit for this. Let's just fuck around and do this. Which I was quickly added. We found out today that the fucking Skyrim Very Special Edition does exist.
It's actually, even though it was a joke, it was a real joke.
Yeah, which is just like, and when we found out, we're like, oh, this is real.
We
I
gotta-
wish I had an Alexa.
I was going to say we'll get an Alexa for the off.
Maybe I'll download it for Google Home. I just got a new one, so.
That's going to be our next Let's Play.
Exactly.
So yeah, so that was everything that we wanted to cover with this.
Yeah.
Yep,
Yeah,
for
that's
day
it.
two.
Yeah. So
All right. Well, I'll put the social media thing up. So you know, you can follow us all on Twitter if you want. If you don't. You know,
If you don't.
fine.
Just keen for Nintendo.
You're keen for, we've just got Nintendo now. But maybe PC game. I don't know if anything's going to come out of that. We're going to really be interesting.
It's been and I.
Okay.
Poked around, I didn't
Oh,
see
there you go.
much,
Nothing terribly exciting. Oh, did you want to mention anything about Limited Run?
Oh, Limited Run. That was like there was nothing really huge that was announced except for just physical releases.
There's
and
a
cool games.
whole
Layers of
heap of
Fears
physical-
obviously come on Switch.
I was-
Ukulele.
Ocean Horn.
Yeah, there's a few that I'm interested in. There's a few that
Dust.
they're almost releasing one every month. I think until October, November, roughly.
I just thought it was exciting because like Limited Run, I obviously follow Limited Run closely.
Yeah.
Matt's obviously following Free from longer than that because he plays Vita. But yeah, it was just cool to be able to see them like,
Yeah.
okay, cool, we're doing an E3 conference and we're just going to announce a bunch of games which you didn't actually think they're going to get physical releases, or like even Ukulele, which never really had a proper date. Like,
Yeah.
There
Which
were
is cool.
some games that aren't even out on media yet, so it's like we're just releasing them as games.
yeah,
So
exactly,
it's cool,
which
so-
is really fucking cool that they've done that.
So
Yeah.
So all right. Well, thanks for watching. We'll probably
click the pasty white bit of Matt's leg at the bottom there, and you'll get a special surprise.
All right. We got to put another drawing there. Are we? Is it Greedo?
Oh no,
is it,
you don't need a drawing.
Is it
That's-
Greedo's
Just put
face?
face on many.
And yeah. So there'll be one more video for E3, which will be Nintendo. Which
Well,
we're all keen for, very
Yeah.
keen.
Wait,
If I don't
It's
die
a-
sitting
for it.
around all day waiting.
There will be a delay in that video going out because it's the conference, or the not conference, the whatever they're calling it. They're calling it Direct this year, I think. Is at 1:30 in the morning here. So by the time we all
I thought
gather,
it was 2:30.
is it 1:30, 2:30?
Whatever the case.
It's
Yeah,
no, it was one.
It
It was 1:30 because Matt and I were both like, we just start late.
Yeah.
That was what the conversation was.
Okay, that makes them more.
Then we've got to catch up and record it. So yeah. So other than that, cool. Thanks for watching. And yeah, we'll keep you out for day 3 or the
Yes.
final day,
Well,
whatever you want to call
final
it.
conference.
Final
There's not
conference.
really much more to cover besides
The
Nintendo.
final. Okay, I'm not going to sing. All right. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah, one day.
Cheerio.